Welcome back to Frankly Speaking, the Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact Boss Security for all your business and home security needs. We are back with Frankly Speaking, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, and in that studio, returning Matthew Buzzetti. Thanks so much for being on the program.
Thanks for having me again.
It's so bright in here, and I apologize because you got the darkness and the brightness. We can't figure out the light, so hold on. A little unprofessional there. Much better. Much better.
Comfortable either way.
No, you look great. It's just me. It's me being technical. So here it is. Can you believe it? How's the campaign going?
It's coming to an end,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a surreal.
Bittersweet?
Yeah, my kids are like, "What are we going to do on the weekends now, Dad?" I'm like, "Hang out at home."
Yeah. Watch TV for a minute? Not just have another chicken barbecue dinner?
Yeah.
So it's going pretty good? You feeling
Yeah.
Good. We recently mentioned this on the program. How did the candidates forum go?
Good turnout. We had about 50 people from the public.
wow.
So 2 of the 3 candidates were there, and we kind of just got to sit down and talk. It was nice. A lot of good questions, some just general public questions,
Sure.
and then some questions that we had kind of all agreed to ask everybody.
General questions.
Yeah.
So 50 people, that's pretty impressive, because I've been talking to a lot of people, and let's face it, we know what the big topic is when it comes to elections. It's the national ticket. Have you found it to be a struggle to get the word out?
It has been.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to cover the local judicial race or the local town hall board race.
Yeah, it's true.
But having 50 people assembled in a high school cafeteria on very short notice, I think I was really proud of what I was able to put together and pull together at the last minute.
I wonder why, you remember in the old days there was all these forums throughout the whole campaign season, and that just seems to have gone by the wayside.
I remember when Judge Rich ran the first time, 12 years, but very long time ago. They did a like the League of Women's Voters did a candidate forum with everybody, and it was like something like that every week. And then in this race, you can't even get the local news outlets to other
cover.
than this one to come to anything.
Well, let's face it, it is all about that national ticket. But people, I just feel bad, and this is why we made it a goal on the program. I feel bad when people go into the voting booth, early voting or on November 5th, and they're just guessing on names. They're taking a stab, or they're looking at political party, and that's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
And especially when we talk political party with judicial races, because it's so odd to me, and I know we talked about this last time, but that there are even political parties in this, because you have to, if you win the next 10 years, you have to stay politically silent.
Can't do anything.
Yeah.
Unless it's in your window period.
Yeah, it's so odd. Okay, so anyway, let's start from the beginning, because you were on a while ago. Just to kind of recap, tell us about your background.
So I'm a local attorney, born and raised in Elmira, New York. I went to law school in Jacksonville, Florida, moved right back. I've worked in family court ever since. So I had a practice order for a while. So before I was fully licensed, I could practice law under the supervision of another attorney. And I did that all through law school. So when I graduated, I actually had family court trial experience, jury trial experience. And then since then, I've just hit the ground running in private sector work lately in the past 10 years. And then before that, all public sector at the assigned counsel offices.
What was it originally that led you to family court?
I grew up in it.
Okay.
So not in it technically,
right,
but I grew up in a broken home. My parents divorced when I was 4. Sure. Like most kids got into some trouble when I was in high school, right?
Yeah.
And then coming back to the area, it was a way where I could give back and I could actually help people and get the most out of it.
Yeah. You talk about your life experience, but also your professional experience. What makes you believe that you are the best person for this job if people are going out to vote on November 5th?
I'm there every day. Mm-hmm. I'm in a family court courtroom literally every day. In this past month alone, so it's November 1st, right?
Yeah.
In October alone, I had 12 family court trials.
Wow.
Which is a lot even for me. Now, I'm used to it, but a lot of other attorneys, they don't have that workload. Yeah. And that's a mix between, assigned counsel work, because in Chemung County, we're really, really struggling on attorneys. I know there's been some references to, the public defender and public advocate's office being almost fully staffed. That's just not accurate. The public defender has a budget for, I think, 17 to 18 full-time attorneys. Okay. They have 9.
Wow.
The public advocate has a budget, I think, for 10 or 12. I'm not sure the exact number. And they have 7. all that work has to go somewhere.
It has to be done.
It has to be done, and the people need it. So that work goes to what's called the 18B panel or the assigned counsel panel. I'm literally one of the only attorneys on the assigned counsel panel in Chemung County.
Oh, interesting. And you mentioned, so you had 12 family court cases in the month of October.
12 trials. I
Trials,
had
excuse
probably
me.
30 cases.
Yeah, well, there you go. So you have all that, and I know we talked last time, you have kids. Why did you decide to take on this responsibility and campaign and run for this? When did you have the time, actually? No.
The time, I always make time, and I tell that to all my clients, whether it's at night, on the weekends. Almost every single client of mine has my personal cell phone number. Actually, when it was ringing the last time I was here, it was actually a family court client.
Did that happen? That's funny.
It was on my watch. Oh. Why did I decide to run? Because I owe it to the community. I owe it to everybody. I think I have reached a point in my career where I can do more and do better things from a different vantage point, which would be from behind the bench. I'm in that court every day. I know the court officers. I know the judges. I know the court clerks. I know all the people in that court. I know how long it takes. I know how pushing things through isn't the right example. I know that we don't have any services in our area. So if somebody's like, oh, we just need to get them in a service and get this case going and get the kids back. We don't have any.
Oh, interesting.
Mental health wait list in Chemung County, 16 months.
Wow. For mental health.
Imagine having your kids removed.
That's horrible.
And then one of the things to get them back is you've got to go to mental health. And then the mental health program says, we can't get you in for 16 months.
Wow. What's the answer? How do you correct that? How do you change that?
We need more services. Getting more services is complicated. I think it all goes back to, unfortunately, money, right?
Yeah, of course, it always does.
But we need to be a little bit more aggressive and unique in some of our community-based decision-making to get services to the people that truly need them.
And also, I would also ask the question, because you mentioned the deficit of lawyers, and how do we overcome that, too?
Again, it goes to money.
Yeah.
So this is actually very, very weird, and not a lot of people understand this. Attorneys at like the public defender or public advocate's office in Chemung County, they don't make a lot to Now, that's normal. It's public service work. You have loan forgiveness. Yeah. But you can, it's around 60 to 70 to maybe 80, depending on experience. Full-time, benefits, good jobs. Yeah. Well, then you can come up here to Steuben County or go to Schuyler County and get that same job part-time. Same salary. Most of the time the salary is higher with benefits. Oh, wow. So we have to, as a county, we have to be more aggressive in trying to use what we have to get what we need, and it's just not being done.
We got to have the discussion at the very least, right? It's got to be addressed. So we were talking about the campaign. Now, has there been anything that surprised you, things you've learned during the campaign?
A lot of people are like, well, I'm never going to go to family court. I'm not getting divorced. I'm never going to, and I'm like, well, never say never, because it can happen to everybody. Right. But just the understanding of how it affects everybody, even if you're never there, right? When we're talking about community safety, homelessness, mental health, drug addiction, that's family court. And it starts there because that's, if you're a child, right, before you get in adult trouble, you get in juvenile trouble. That's where you go. Yeah. And then when we talk about, I've represented, me at 38 years old, I've represented generations, 3 to 4 generations of people and families, all with the same problems. So if you talk about getting the help to the people right then and there, the minute they need it, that starts in family court.
Wow. What are voters saying to you specifically, those that are watching the race and know the importance of family court? What are they saying to you?
That there's some discrepancies or misinformation out there about experience and who's done what and that kind of stuff. Sure. There's a little bit of that. And then the other big thing is how can they help, which has been a huge blessing. Sure. Because getting the word out there about, even the mental health thing I brought up, people are like shocked to hear that. And it's like, what can I do? I'm like, you need to call the county executive. You need to call Tom O'Mara. We need to start calling the lawmakers to start a push to get access to funds and state grants.
What will be the biggest issue if you become judge on November 5th? Well, when you get sworn in, what would be the biggest factor that you'll be facing? Biggest issue?
Attorneys.
Yeah, that is so
the whole system.
Both that and that. Yeah.
And they're such an integral and vital important part And there's a lot of attorneys that I've met throughout the state who don't practice here. And I've talked to them when I was considering running, and I'm like, look, if this happens, and I'm blessed with the job, and people select me, can I count on you guys to come down here and help? So bringing in out-of-town attorneys that have said, look, we would come down and practice in front of you. Excuse me.
It's that time of year. I've been doing the same thing. Trust me. I know.
Well, broken ribs don't help too.
Oh no, geez.
So
we'll get to that question next. Apparently,
bringing more help here.
Yeah.
I think is the biggest, most pressing issue.
So is it almost to the level of a crisis? Would you say it's that bad?
Oh, it's past a crisis.
Oh, it's past a crisis.
So last year, our district judge, so for the head judge for the 6th Judicial District, said Chemung County Public Advocate and Public Defender, they can't take any more cases. Wow. Here's why that's important. Public Advocate's Office, when you go to family court, they're the first assigned attorney. So if they can't take any more cases, anybody who goes to family court, it's going to the 18B panel, which I said has literally, I think at last check, there's 3 attorneys.
Wow, that's like you said, that's shocking to hear. I do want to do a little bit before we go towards the end, talk about explaining the race and like that. But something I try to ask candidates, because I know it's something that the term they always use is humbling. But endorsements, you've received a lot of endorsements. I think it's worth mentioning.
The endorsements have been great.
Yeah.
So the Elmira Teachers Union, the Elmira Teachers Association. Sure. I am, in my race specifically, I'm the only candidate with a law enforcement endorsement, the Chemung County Correctional Officers Association. Okay. And then last week, I was teary-eyed and humbled when I received a letter from 20, and at this point, there's going to be an update, and it's over 20 at this point, but local family court attorneys.
Oh, wow.
They're all attorneys that practice primarily in family court, and they're attorneys that I'm against.
Right, sure.
Sometimes, we're not all of the old adage, all the attorneys are friends. Well, for the most part, that's true, but there are some that aren't. And even there, I mean, so having the support of the people who are in the court, the people who know this is the guy for the job, is something that I relish and do not take lightly.
Sure. Now, could you explain the race itself to us? Because again, unfortunately, not a lot of people follow the judicial race. I don't think I'm telling you anything. I hope that wasn't insulting.
Oh my God, Frank, what are you talking about?
Since when? Could you explain the race and maybe tell people who can vote for you and those type of who, what, when, where, and why?
Okay, so the race is in Chemung County. It is for Chemung County Family Court Judge, and on the ballot, it's going to say pick 2. That's because last year we were given from the governor a new judgeship. Okay. So you're actually electing 2 judges. Okay. So there's 3 candidates, and polling or early voting started. It runs until I think Saturday or Sunday.
I think it's Sunday, and then it closes down. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. Don't wait then.
And then don't wait
today. Do it today.
And then we have 2 early voting places in Chemung County. So the Board of Elections on Main Street, and then the 4-H the 4-H campgrounds at the fairgrounds. Okay. And then everybody needs to vote. Yeah.
And you can go, and we always talk about early voting now. That's the new topic, but you can go on November 5th, everybody, I'm not picking on you. I'm saying everybody.
I'm debating on what I want to do.
Oh, you haven't done it yet?
I haven't gone to early voting yet.
But they even give you the sticker.
I know, and that one's so much cooler than the regular one that just says, I voted.
I know. I can't wait to put it on my Instagram. So, and the other thing I think it's worth noting, your political affiliation. What are your thoughts? And I've been asking this. This is kind of a new question I've been asking. Do you think there ever a chance where it won't be a Republican, Democrat type thing for a judicial race?
If I have anything to say about it, I think it puts the candidate in such a bad position when engaging with anybody.
Sure.
Because I get a lot of questions about, what's your stance on gun rights? What's your stance on this large topic? And I'm like, I can't answer that question. Yeah. So and then, you look at it, and when you're looking at a judicial race, it's not about, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Are you working families, conservative, independent, a blank? It's not about that. It's about, are you in that court? Do you have that experience? and are you the right person for the job? And political party and political affiliation shouldn't matter in judicial races.
Not at all. So before we go, where can people find out more about your campaign?
Website, BuzzettiForJudge.com. Facebook, Committee to Elect Matthew J. Buzzetti. Or you can stop by my office or call me, or when you see me running between courts at a courthouse, wave me down, and I talk all day long, every day. So it's something I love to do.
All right, here we go. In closing, what do you say to voters before they either early vote or head to the polls on November 5th?
Really look at, when you're choosing who to vote for, look at the reasons why you're choosing for that person. Look at the endorsements and where they come from. You know, are they people who are in particular to the race? Are they in the courts practicing, or are they just people with name recognition? Look at what the real experience is. Do your research. Go to nycourts.gov. Type everybody's name in. Figure out who is where and who is not.
Well, Matthew, thanks so much for being on the program. Best of luck on Tuesday.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.